family and YouTubers. It is day 10 of harvest. We hit the double digits. We've got just a little bit of corn left to get out. This morning, had a cool surprise. The FS guy, Mick, I forget his name, came by, but he gave us brand new hoodies, which is really cool. He got one for me and Dad and Chris. We got to get about 2 hours of corn out. We'll be switching over to beans, I assume, although it may rain today, so we'll see if we get any beans. We should be able to get all the corn out though. First, I'm gonna check the oil. Don't need to grease today because only really ran about 5 hours yesterday. Chris ran it some while I was working for Tractor Supply, and then I ran it a couple hours in the evening. So we probably don't need grease. Oh yeah, right at the bottom. So we can run it, but we need to add some to it. Chris is gonna have to bring a can back from the farm over here to Gary's. But I think we can go ahead and start and just add it in once we get going. So I'm trying something out today. I've duct taped around my fishing camera and put it right up here pointing into the bin. And I ran the wire down around the back of the cab. It'll come in through the door right there. And it plugs into this monitor right here that shows a picture of the hopper. That way when the sensor doesn't go off, I'll still see that the hopper's full of corn, and I hopefully won't spill any more on the cab. I've got it all plugged into my Ryobi portable power source right there that has an outlet.
Marines, we're at 5% ground force operational status. All personnel copying this transmission.
Well, we were headed over here at about 8 o'clock, but by the time we finished talking to the seed man and messing around cleaning the combine and getting it out and putting oil in and setting up my new camera monitor, it's already 9 o'clock, so we're gonna cut some corn though. Next to us, I don't remember what the guy's name is, but he's a local guy, and he's got a big Klaus combine and a couple of those cat tractors and big grain carts, and they were all full, sitting right on the windmill road next to the field we're working in, waiting for a semi so they could dump on it. And Chris and I have been talking the last couple of times that we dumped about how whether or not I could fill it, because it would run short, and the hopper would be, the grain cart would be really, really full. And I was telling Chris, like, I can't keep running it, it'll overflow. I don't think he believed me. And everything had been going really smoothly, and we were dumping right on this side next to those guys sitting watching, and I really didn't want to, like, spill corn right in front of them. So we're going down, and Chris is like, this time, he calls me on the phone, and he's like, this time you can just, once it gets empty, just cut it off, and then we'll go down and fill at the end. stopped at one. And I was like, I won't be able, if I try to turn it back on, I won't be able to empty it out, and then I'll have a full auger, and we don't really want that. It's not good to start it up full. And he's like, you should be able to pack the corners and everything. And I was like, it is full to the brim when I get done, you know? And so we're running, and so when you're dumping on the go, you're watching the corn, and you're watching the monitors, and you're watching the auger and the wagon and trying to keep even with them, because ours doesn't do it automatically. So you're matching the speed of the tractor and trying to fill that cart, and it is nerve-wracking. And I got down there and he's like, yeah, just keep filling it. So I turned it back on, and about the time I turned it on, the cart was already full and almost overflowing, and I stopped it just in time with the auger full. But we were right in front of those dudes. I was like, the carts and the other combines. I was so nervous I was going to dump corn all over the ground right in front of them. But it didn't, and we ended up like filling the cart to the absolute max without spilling any. But the auger on the combine is full, so hopefully we don't break a belt or a fuse or something when I turn it back on when I dump this load. Hey Chris.
Hey.
We had a debate about whether or not the cart would overflow if I kept running. I don't know if you remember that or not, but...
Yeah, I remember that. You were right, it would have run over.
I asked Dad this. Have you guys ever done load on the go before you had the case?
Well, we done it with Wes's, maybe. It seems like maybe I tried it once, but the gleaner doesn't like you to do that. It's kind of fragile to have all that weight on such a big angle, and then you know, if it's flat and smooth, it's probably not a big deal, but if you hit a big hole or something, there's a real good chance it'll fall.
Did you ever do load on the go with anybody else?
Yeah, I've loaded on the go with Ralph and Steve before, but...
Not before the case?
Yeah, not before we had the case.
When was the first time you ever saw somebody load on the go?
Gordon's used to do it all the time.
Did you ever see anybody do it when you were, like, before we moved to Alabama? In the 90s or whatever? Or 80s?
Yeah, Richard would have been doing it in the 90s. Not in the 80s, not when I was a kid, no. Gordon's would have been doing it in the 90s.
I just remember when we first started doing it that I was like, man, this is so much faster. It keeps the combine moving and the crops get out faster. But I've always also had to learn over the years that faster is not better all the time.
Well, it's twice as much fuel and twice as much compaction if you're driving the car, especially the loaded cart.
We're done with corn, so I'm going to go ahead and clean the corn that I spilled on the cab right here. And we'll sweep down the rest of what's in the bin so that we can put it into the cart, into the wagon, and into the bin. Well, we're done with corn. Now we're gonna go pick weeds out of the bean field. Avery's not happy about it. Hey, Avery, what do you think of our driver? You don't know? Is she doing thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs sideways. Nothing, you're good. Whoa! Good job, Avery. Good job, Shinshan. All right, push the clutch down. And put it in 2. Straight back. There you go, let it up slow. There you go. All right, let's go, Trent. Let's get those weeds. Well, it's raining, but apparently it's only raining on me. Well, I was bopping along down the field trying to get back to the farm before the storm hits, and the tractor just died on me. The battery's dead and it won't start, so Chris is coming to pull it, I guess. North County is getting rain. Rainbow on the front end of that storm. Well, it's pouring down rain. I was supposed to take the combine and put it in the barn at Gary's, but the 1420, the little one, to be done for the year. But Chris is going to work in the combine, or work on the big combine over there in the shed, getting it ready for beans. So I'm going to take the 6410 over there, hook it up to the shredder. Back over at Gary's, Chris put the combine away, had me move the wagon over here off the street. He's putting the cart back here off the street. We hooked up the shredder to the 6410, parked it in out of the rain. I think we're going to go to the farm and just work on the shed or something. The neighbors saying their beans were dry. We really need to get them in, but it won't stop raining. Can't seem to figure out why this floating head won't work. I think I'll let Chris cut the beans. Thank you to everyone for watching. We'll be putting out a new video every Saturday morning, so please like and subscribe to see more.